The piano is a Yamaha upright, slightly out of tune on the high end, and it lives in the corner of Marcus's apartment, like a confession he hasn't finished making. I know this because he told me on the first night, when I sat down at the bench and ran my fingers across the keys, without pressing any of them. He said, "It needs tuning." I know, and I said, "I don't mind." And what I meant was, I haven't played in 30 years, and I'm not sure I have any right to mind anything about this. My name is Claire. I am 43 years old. I bill $400 an hour to tell other people how to negotiate, and I signed up for adult beginner piano lessons because my therapist said I needed one thing in my life that I was allowed to be bad at. I found Marcus through a card on a corkboard at the coffee shop 2 blocks from my office. Jazz pianist. Teaches evenings. Patient. That last word was clearly doing a lot of work. The first lesson, he sat in a chair beside the bench and watched me play a C major scale. I played it correctly. Both hands, proper fingering, even tempo. He said nothing for a moment. Then, "You've played before." Until I was 12. What happened at 12? I got good enough that my teacher wanted me to compete. I didn't want to compete. My mother thought that was a waste. I looked at my hands. I stopped. He nodded slowly, like that explained something. "Play it again." I played it again. Same tempo, same precision. "You're playing it like you're filing a document," he said. Correctly, without any interest in what it is. I looked at him then, really looked at him for the first time. He was maybe 35, with paint or ink on the side of his left hand and eyes that were very direct in a way I wasn't used to from people who wanted me to pay them. He didn't seem concerned that I might be offended. "Isn't correct the point?" I said. "It's the beginning of the point," he said. "Come back Thursday." By the 4th lesson, I had worked through the beginner book. He gave me and purchased 2 others. I practiced 45 minutes every morning before work, which meant I was waking up at 5:30, which my assistant noticed because I started responding to emails at 6 and she was worried about me. I told her I'd taken up a hobby. She looked relieved in a way that made me feel briefly ashamed. Marcus noticed the improvement immediately and didn't compliment it. "You've been practicing," he said. "Every day. How does it feel when you play in the morning?" I considered lying, saying good or relaxing, but something about the directness of him made that feel like more effort than honesty. "Like a problem I'm working through," I said. "Satisfying when I get it right." He was quiet for a moment. Then he sat down beside me on the bench, closer than he usually did, and set his hands on the keys. "Here," he said. He played a short phrase, a few bars of something I didn't recognize. Jazz, unhurried, with a small hesitation built into it that sounded intentional. "What did you hear?" "The notes." "What else?" I thought about it. A pause in the middle, like you weren't sure. "I was sure," he said. I put the pause there. "What did it feel like?" "Like," I stopped, "like waiting for something." He smiled then, the first real one I'd seen from him. It changed his whole face. "Okay," he said. "Now you're listening." The 6th lesson, we argued. I had been working on a Chopin nocturne, not a beginner piece. He'd said when I told him, and I'd said I didn't care, which he seemed to respect. I had it technically. Every note, every tempo marking, every dynamic I could read on the page. He sat beside me and listened to the whole thing without stopping me, which he sometimes did, and when I finished, there was a silence that felt pointed. "It's correct," he said. "I know what you're going to say." "What am I going to say?" "That I'm playing the notes and not the music." "You've said it before." "I've said it before because it keeps being true." I turned to look at him. We were close on the bench. We were always closer than strictly necessary by that point, though neither of us had said anything about it, and I could see that he wasn't being unkind. He looked almost frustrated, but not with me, like he was trying to reach something and kept falling slightly short. "I don't know what that means," I said. "Practically, I don't know what you want me to do differently. I want you to want something when you play." "I do want something. I want to play it correctly." "That's not a want, Claire. That's a standard." He leaned forward slightly, elbows on his knees. "Why did you pick this piece?" I opened my mouth to say something about technical challenge, about the structure of it, and then stopped. "My mother played it," I said. "When I was small, before things were difficult between us, she'd play it on Sunday mornings, and I used to sit on the floor next to the piano bench and listen." The room was quiet. "Play it again," Marcus said. His voice was different now, quieter. "I just played it." Play it again. But this time, he paused. Play it for Sunday mornings. I don't know how to explain what happened when I played it the second time. The notes were the same. My fingering was the same. I don't think if you had recorded both versions and compared them, you'd have found enormous technical differences. But somewhere in the first few bars, something in my chest shifted. Not painfully, more like a door opening that had been sealed a long time. Not locked exactly, just unused. I thought about the floor of my childhood living room, the specific yellow of the morning light, my mother's hands, which looked like mine. I got to the middle section and I felt my eyes sting, which was so unexpected and so inconvenient that I almost stopped. I didn't stop. I finished the piece. When I looked up, Marcus was watching me. He hadn't moved. There it is, he said softly. I looked back at the keys. My hands were still resting on them. That felt... I started and stopped. I know, he said. I don't usually... I stopped again. I know. He didn't fill the silence with anything else, and I was grateful, because I needed somewhere to put that feeling, and silence was the only space wide enough. After a moment, his hand came to rest over mine on the keys, not directing anything, not teaching, just his hand over both of mine, warm and still. You've been playing with armor on, he said. This whole time. I could see it. I didn't look at him. It's useful armor. I know it is. A pause. I wore the same kind for a long time. I turned then. He was close. The bench was narrow, and we'd been sitting near the center of it for weeks, and I could see that he meant it. That he wasn't offering me something he hadn't considered at some cost to himself. What happened? I asked. He was quiet for a moment. I played a concert that mattered a great deal to me. 3 years ago, a venue I'd been trying to get for years, people I respected in the audience. He looked at the keys. I played perfectly. Every note. Everyone said so. Another pause. I came home and I didn't feel anything. And I thought, if this doesn't do it, what will? I'd spent so long trying to be good enough that I'd forgotten to want anything. What did you do? I stopped performing for about a year, he said. Taught, played here, alone, badly, on purpose, until I remembered what it felt like to just... He made a gesture that somehow communicated the whole of it. Play. We were both quiet. His hand was still over mine and neither of us had moved it. I'm not good at this, I said. The feeling part? You just did it. It surprised me. I don't usually like being surprised. I've noticed. And there was something in his voice when he said it. Warm and a little amused and too honest. That made me look at him again. He was already looking at me. This close, I could see that his eyes were dark brown with a slight amber ring I hadn't noticed before, and that he had a small scar at the edge of his jaw that I found myself wondering about. I was aware, I had been aware for several weeks, in a manner I had been cataloging professionally as irrelevant, that he was attractive in the specific way that people are attractive when they are genuinely themselves. I should probably schedule another lesson, I said. Probably, he said. Neither of us moved. Outside, a car passed on the wet street. The Yamaha sat slightly out of tune and patient in the corner. The piece I had just played, the one with Sunday mornings inside it, still felt like it was in the room somehow, present in the air between us like a question I had asked without meaning to. Marcus, I said, yeah. I don't know how to do this. Without it being something I'm trying to get right. He turned fully toward me then, his knee almost touching mine, and something in his expression went quiet and certain at the same time. Then don't try to get it right, he said. Just, he lifted his hand from the keys and slowly, with the same deliberateness he used when he was showing me something new, brought it to the side of my face, barely touching, asking, start. I leaned into it before I decided to, and for the first time in longer than I could remember, I wasn't thinking about whether I was doing it correctly.